Transfer taxes are one way of recovering revenues that have been lost through Prop 13. And for those who don't know Prop 13, it's basically a law that restricted property taxes to being based on the value of the property at the time of acquisition. So if I bought a property in 1980 for $100,000, and that property today is worth $2 million. From 1980 to today, I've been paying property taxes based on a value of $100,000 increasing by CPI every year, which means that I might be paying property taxes based on a $400,000 valuation when that property is worth $2 million, which means I have 40 years of underpaying property taxes. But that's Prop 13. Prop 13 has proved nearly impossible to overturn. And that is what it is. So how do we make up for it? Because those lost tax revenues directly impact city finances. The city used to rely on being able to tax properties at market rate, like most other places do. But now, without that ability, the cities have lost a lot of revenues. So we have to make them up somehow, somewhere. That's why we just aren't getting where we need to go with housing, is we just don't really have the finances. One good way of bridging that gap is with the transfer tax. Because what a transfer tax says is, we're not forcing you to sell. We're not going to tax you any more than you're already being taxed in the immediate term while you own the building. But when you sell, instead of charging you only 1.1%, which is the current tax rate in Los Angeles, we're going to charge you something more. Other places have charged as much as 5% for high-value properties. So Culver City, Santa Monica, and San Francisco have all passed in the last couple of years increased transfer taxes. And a huge portion of the populations in all of those places were supportive. Most people in all of those places said, this is a good way to recover some revenues. And by the way, only charging 1.1% on a property sale that might have netted the developer or owner millions of dollars, not a whole lot of money. It's just not. And I'm a developer, and would I embrace higher levels of transfer taxes, even though those taxes will hurt me a lot financially? Yes. Yes, I recognize that this system will break down without more revenues. The government cannot do all the things that it needs to do without more revenues. And so ultimately, even though in the short term I might benefit from having really low tax rates across the board, long term, my real estate won't be worth anything. It won't matter because the system will break down. And nobody's going to lease a building in a place where the system has broken down. Look at Detroit. Look at what's happening across rural America. We all are part of this. And me as a private developer has to recognize that I am responsible for contributing to this solution. So transfer taxes are a great way of dramatically increasing tax revenues for the city.